I think that's okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. I hope everybody is doing well on this sort of Tuesday where weather is deciding to try and make its own mind up, but not really too sure on what to do. Um, and it's I suppose it's not quite the morning after the night before, but you might as well say, well, it's the day after yesterday. And yesterday, it was not a great showing for Manchester United, to say the least. Not a great showing whatsoever. So today in this stream, we're going to have a little recap, right? We're going to just pick our brains a little bit with last night's happenings and all that jazz, and then we're going to also look into the near future because, as we know, next weekend, big game in North London at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Tottenham Hotspur, it's sort of a feel-good mood at the moment, so we've got that to play against. So it's not looking too good as far as the near future is concerned. The question really is our near future, is it bleak? Is it a very dim, dull outlook? By the looks of it, it could be, but maybe we turn up, we see a Manchester United we haven't seen before, and we stick it to them. Maybe that happens. But also on the transfer front, we've been dealt a bit of a bit of a blow on the sales front, which we're also going to delve into. Um, Early doors, good to see you. Good to see you. How am I doing? Um, to be honest, without touching a drop of alcohol, without dropping uh, literally not a single drop of alcohol, and I feel hungover from yesterday. Um, yeah, I thought you were going to be singing Lucky Man when I saw the title of the stream. Um, Unfortunately, not quite that. No, I don't really. I don't know what the song "Lucky Man" actually is, but you could make the song out of it, where it's instead of "Glory, Glory Man United," you could say "Lucky, Lucky Man United, Lucky, Lucky Man United, Lucky, Lucky Man United," and read somehow like another W. I don't even know how we managed to get that result last night because we deserved everything that was perhaps going to go against us, right? Um, so yeah, I think it's like everyone else's guess is as good as mine. Very, very, very lucky performance. Um, I think both ends of the pitch as well. I'd probably say we lucked it out. Um, so yeah, it wasn't great, but yeah, we're going to sort of do a little bit of a not so much a deep dive, but rather sort of have a bit of a reflection of what happened last night and perhaps what it entails, because the fact that we're walking into Tottenham Hotspur territory on Saturday, um, it's not got very good reading, right? The forecast is not not very promising. So I am personally, I'm not looking forward to next weekend. With all things considered, Ten Hag used his get out of jail free card. He did. He very much did. You know, very very much did. I think Wan-Bissaka um, perhaps came in quite clutch. You know, probably the best outfield performance that we had on the pitch, barring the goalkeeping performance. No, there's a lot of people that I've seen it this morning that the VAR officials that were in charge of the United game got dropped this morning. They got cancelled. Cancel culture caught them. So I'm pretty sure it's the PFA have suspended, or the PGMOL have suspended that VAR officiating team, which is funny because apparently the same guy had a huge VAR blunder previously where he got, I think he got suspended for a previous uh, howler of an incident with VAR review and got cancelled back then. So it's just, I think he's just racking up he's racking up suspensions from refereeing. Like drunk drivers like to, speed run maximum points on their license. So it's one of those things. But we lucked it out. We lucked it out. Very, very much lucked it out. So Anana's performance yesterday was, I think it was a positive performance. To think about it, it had the makings of what I think a lot of people didn't think he was going to have. Very alert goalkeeping. Very quick, very decisive. Didn't have any mistakes at all. I think obviously there's a lot of people who will say, well, look, some people will call it dirty tactics from Onana. I think it's just a guy that is desperate to make an impact, and whoever stands in his way, he is not going to stop or slow down for you. He is going to clear you. He is going to clean your clock if you stand in his way in the box and the ball's there to be claimed. So yeah, it's just one of those things, I think. But obviously, with officiating, goalkeeping bias exists, I guess. I'm pretty sure goalkeeping bias does exist for officiating. Protect the goalkeepers and all of that. That in itself, it tells you that they dropped a clanger last night, suspending them. That makes the difference of staying up or relegation. And I suppose it's one of those things where, it feels like it's insignificant on match week 1, right? When there's not really anything to play for at the moment, or it's not really crunch time for many teams. But you'll see as we sort of get to the mid part of the season onwards that you're going to see a lot more scrutiny for, even the smallest mistakes from referees. They're going to get absolutely slaughtered. Because obviously we're closer to the conclusion of the season, so there's a lot more riding on teams as to their ambitions in the league, and potentially they're missing out on the point or 3 points. That will ultimately ensure that said club reaches their goals. So yeah, it's a big problem, and I think it's going to rear its ugly head once again, or several times, as the season progresses. I don't think this is going to be the last time we're going to see controversy with Man United this season. I don't. I really, really don't. I think there's going to be plenty of officiating howler mistakes, whatever you want to call it, in favour of United and also in favour of our oppositions. It's going to happen. Like, this is bound to happen. At the end of the day, we've got to ask the question, is it VAR that's the problem, or is it the people using it? Personally, the people that are using it are very, very incompetent. They've been incompetent before VAR was introduced. And yeah, sad, sorry state of affairs of the English game. We're supposed to be the best league in the world, but we have probably the worst officiating team in the world. So yeah, not great. Really, really not great. And as far as being a United fan is concerned, I don't want to be sat here relying on the outcomes being dictated to by officiating performances. I don't want that. I don't want to be sat here every single weekend talking about, well, the referee did this, the referee did that. I don't want to be doing that. I want to be saying, Man United had a fantastic performance this week. Manchester United had, it was a right performance, and the star players, the big players, big time players, they came up clutch, and that's kind of that's where I want my assessments to go of games. But the referees do a very good job in claiming the headlines, and you know what? It really, really sucks. It really, really does. So yeah, we'll have to see how things progress from then onwards. Big T, good to see you. Hope you're doing well today. How are we feeling, Big T? Are we over last night? Are we over last night, or are we still sort of we're still feeling a bit croaky about that performance? I know how I'm feeling. I need to get myself a sugary tea down my gullet. Try and push on from last night. Big up, Big T. 100%. Big ups to you. Newly moderated BT as well. So big ups, double big ups to Big T there. But yeah, last night, basically not great. Just a quick run through of the team. So obviously Andre Onana, big performance, very, very big performance. Without, if it was another goalkeeper and if it's a different day, maybe just maybe, um, uh, if it was another goalkeeper, we probably would have conceded or shipped, say, like 3 or 4 goals last night. Very alert goalkeeping, a very decisive goalkeeping, as I've said. See here that I've been trying to figure out how so many people are giving Onana man of the match. He should have been off. I think in hindsight to the decision, probably should have been sent off, or because obviously the officiating team got suspended this morning. VAR officials, which by the way has a bad track record of getting suspended, because he's previously been suspended from VAR as well. So that's another one that people from rival fan bases are going to be a bit iffy about. Let's be real. Wolves have been given an apology and the officials have been removed. Yeah. You know what? I think Brighton are probably going to send a letter of condolences, just like, trust me, guys, we know how you feel. But it's one of those things. Do we sit here? Do we blame Man United for that, or do we sit here and we say, well, look, the officiating in this country is just absolutely shambolic. So if you want to call it justice, it wasn't served last night. It definitely wasn't served. We lucked our way out of that one. So, but for me, as far as controversy aside, the performance of Onana himself, I think a lot of people had a lot of doubts and concerns about Onana in his goalkeeping style, of that he would have a big mistake made, like big mistake that would cost us all 3 points or directly lead to a goal. Didn't really actually happen, barring just a controversy with the officiating. It didn't happen. The rest of the performance was actually pretty damn good. So I think as far as we're concerned, if we want to call it the controversy in a certain point in the game, or about the other 89 minutes, you had to be present and fully accounted for to actually basically warrant commanding a respectable performance. And to be honest, I thought we saw that with Onana last night. Chipped all pre-season and should have been sent off first game of the season. Name a game Onana has not had a bad moment in to date. Well, it's a moment, isn't it? It's a moment, but lucky, I'd say lucky moment in the first game. But that's just a part of what Onana is. The guy's very boisterous, and he wants to command his box. Maybe he's got to curb it a little bit, because it's probably going to get him into a bit more trouble this season. Maybe what we might see is Onana get sent off where he rushes out to meet the striker outside the box and takes him out, like we've seen with Ederson previously. I think we might have seen with a couple of other goalkeepers. I think that's probably going to happen with Onana. But the performance itself for 89 minutes is kept the ball out of the goal. Moments can lose games. It's a big gamble. And that's the thing. Moments can lose games, but then again, a whole game can be made up of moments from all different areas of the pitch. Defenders can have a moment which causes us to lose the game. Midfielders can have a moment of madness, get sent off, second yellow in a couple of minutes or something. Strikers can have a moment, miss an absolute sitter. It's always going to have games out there that's defined by big moments, but for us as United fans, what we want to get away from is moments FC. What we don't want to have is have a performance that is commanded by moments. Our last night was dictated to by moments, and we don't want to have moments. We want to have just a good game from minute 1 to 90, and we didn't get anything. We didn't even get one good minute. It was just a moment. A moment scored us the goal. Moments kept us in the game, but moments where crazy controversy happened, we were lucky to get away with it. when we shouldn't have. It's just one of those three. It's just one of those things. Agree, Big T, and Anna clearly took the player out, and you can't say the referee didn't have a bad view of the incident. If he didn't, the VAR should have. They were looking at the time. Yeah, I think it's what I said last night. A bit of the biasery towards goalkeepers is that the goalkeeper's always seemingly going to have the benefit of the doubt in a like with an in-box incident. It's like when there was the argument that strikers needed to get a bit more sympathy votes, or need to be given a bit more leeway in the light of officiating decisions. I think that conversation disappeared very quickly. How long does a manager get a free pass? Should we start questioning some of his decisions or lack of them at times? I think with the first weekend, I think it's interesting. Really, it is interesting to see, because Eric Ten Hag should. I mean, sure, we've still got business that should be done. We should have had Amrabat in by now. We should have had perhaps another midfielder in by now. We should have had a second striker in by now. We should have had Maguire sold and another centre back in by now. It's one of those things where we've gone back to a point where all of the transfer business that United needed to do still not done. So Ten Hag has still not got all the pieces that he needs to, create what sort of a game he wants to play. But it's like sometimes if you've not got the cards dealt in your favour, it's like you need to make the best of a bad situation. And I feel like sometimes managers don't really help themselves by not doing the best or making the best of a bad situation. And I think last night was essentially performance-wise was inexcusable. Like, I don't really understand why everybody was playing like they'd never seen a football before, and it was absolutely abysmal. And I think a manager does need to have a fair bit of questioning. He does. He needs to have a lot of eyes put on him and say, well, look, Ten Hag, what's happened? You had a pre-season, you're working on something, but we've reverted to type. And I'll tell you what, the performance made me really feel like we were back to the start of last season, because that we were open, that we were not good, defending was not good, in possession we weren't good. I'll tell you the only difference really between that, last night and Brentford at the start of the season, the only difference was that Wolves didn't score any goals. If it was Brentford, maybe they would have scored 3 or 4 goals, and it would have been another 4-0. It's one of those games. I know it was near the end of the game, but that shouldn't count a foul as a foul regardless. Yeah. We had a pre-season to get ready for the start of the season. We clearly was not ready. Was that the first time that the 11 played together? Can't remember. To be honest, that 11, even if it hasn't played together, like started the game together, I think the players, they've had minutes under the belt. They should be ready. It's like Mason Mount. What on God's earth of a performance was that? Literally contributed nothing. Garnacho, you had a fantastic performance against Lens. Where did that go? Anthony looked like, it looked like he was before his development phase in Ajax. Just had absolutely nothing to offer. Marcus Rashford, 1 or 2 chances. Beyond that, didn't create anything. The ball just wouldn't stick. It's it's really, really baffling, man. It really, really is baffling. I mean, Casemiro, don't remember him having a decent performance either. Martinez, very very strong showing defensively, got booked early on in the game, but then got subbed off. Lindelof replaced him, didn't really do anything to improve to improve the situation. Varane, I think, was okay at best, and that is just solely at best, was okay. obviously had a good moment to actually turn up in the goal scoring position when he did. Luke Shaw, honestly, nothing to write home about. Nothing spectacular there. Bruno Fernandes was awful all game until just the one pass to play into Wan-Bissaka. Offered absolutely nothing. Christian Eriksen didn't do anything. Pellistri just came on and ran about. Sancho calmed things down a little bit on the wings and probably was the best winger performance that we had last night. And that's saying something because Sancho didn't really do anything, and Scott McTominay came on just to basically be an extra plank of wood in the box to see out the game. So seriously, pretty much 95 to 99% of the team last night was just absolutely abysmal. For a lot of those players, that is their worst performance in a United shirt. For a lot of those players, by far their worst performance in a United shirt. Let's question the manager on naming Maguire inside. All that does is encourage him. Fergie would not have him in the stadium, never mind on the bench. And that's the thing. There is some Maguire news as well, by the way, that I'm going to address, which is, really, it has contributed to pissing me off a little bit this morning. It has. It really, really has contributed to pissing me off a bit, which we'll delve into in a moment or two. From what I saw last night, you think it was Man United that was relegation fodder and Wolves are going to battle it out for the top four. Yeah. Well, I mean, I can't really complain with that, to be honest. And I suppose you take in context to what that performance was and you stick it up against Tottenham Hotspur. I'm not joking when I say this, but there is probably an element of doubt that I have to us not seeing that performance on Saturday. That's going to be another Liverpool result. We could be holding 6 next weekend. Realistically, we could be holding 6, 5, 6 goals. Richarlison will probably find the best goal scoring game he's ever had in his life, and it's probably going to come against us, right? It's seriously, we are in dire straits. On Mason Mount, this is a player the manager wants. Again, the majority won't question him. I'm sick of hearing trust the process, trust the manager. If Eric wants it, that is good enough for me. Listen, that's what I've been saying. I don't like the Mason Mount signing. Some people say, well, look, he's a good player. I'm like, is he though? Is he really though? Like, the only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give Ten Hag the benefit of the doubt. If you want the player, go and prove to me that the guy's worth it. Go prove to me. The manager will prove with the players he signs if they are truly good enough. And it's like, you look at that performance last night and you say, if Rasmus Højlund is playing, does that change anything? For me, no, it doesn't. I think Rasmus Højlund goes into that team and he has an absolute stinker of performance as well. Because everything was just off. Everything was off about that game. But yeah, at the end of the day, for me, look, Ten Hag, you want a player. Let's go get that player because that's what you want. But you're going to have to prove that he is worth it. It's, with Amrabat, I like the player because of what he's going to offer this team for what we need. But Ten Hag still has to prove that he's worth it. It's like with the centre-backs, Todibo or Pavard, whoever it is. Prove it to us, Eric. Prove that he is going to be a player that delivers on the pitch. Prove it. Go right ahead to prove it. Big T looks like he may still be with you as the deal with West Ham is hitting a wall right now. And then you hear that Ten Hag wants him to battle for a place. I think what he said in the press conference, I think, is one of those things where what he says in a press conference is not always going to be true, right? It's not always going to be what happens. I think Eric is just trying to basically not throw a player under the bus. He's just trying to, keep things on the low down. But naming Maguire on the bench is not something you want to be doing by any means. If you're wanting to say, well, look, the player's going to leave, right? If you're saying, look, I'm adamant about this player leaving, what is one of the telling signs that you're doing so is you're leaving him out of the matchday squad, because Harry Maguire is going to look at that. He's going to say, well, I mean, I know I'm not going to play. I know I'm not going to get minutes. But as long as you keep including me on the matchday squads, I'm going to kick my feet up and be relaxed. I'm going to be chill. So this conversation that we have about, Maguire testing his ambition, testing just what he's really made of, you'd make his life uncomfortable. You'd really challenge his ambitions, and you say, what do you really want in your footballing career, Harry? Are you going to stick around here and be lazy, or are you going to get off your arse and actually start trying to play for your career? Because you're not going to have it here. You're not going to have it your way here. That's for certain. And I'll tell you what, the deal for Maguire is off, right? It's not off completely. It's stalling, right? It's having troubles because it's not to do with the West Ham side. It's not. My suspicions were confirmed. It was not to do with the West Ham side. It's to do with United and a payout to pay off Maguire to get him to leave. The club are in disagreement with, because money talks, right? Money talks. And as we can clearly see with this transfer saga, the bullshit is not just walking, it's running. The bullshit is running. And seems like Man United holding up the transfer because no doubt they don't want to pay out to see him go. Exactly. It's just money talks. Money, money, money. It's saving a dime for this board, saving a dime ahead of doing what's necessary to see this team progress and improve. Never forget that. Never forget that. That's the ethos of this club, the ethos of this board. And it is absolutely pathetic, because if it's Man City, they pay him off. Get out of my club. It's Liverpool. They pay him off. Get out of my club. It's Chelsea. They pay him off. Get out of my club. If it's anybody else, right, they pay him off. They get him out of the club. But it's Man United. Money talks. Penny pinching. Save the extra dime. It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So according to The Sun, Maguire is demanding a payoff of 50 million. If that has some truth to it, then wow. I mean, Maguire takes a bit of blame in this as well, because obviously the guy's childish. He is. He's really, really childish. He's kicking and screaming. He's a petulant child. So Maguire apologists, where are you now? Right? Where are you now? Where are your apology letters? You're watching a child at play. You are literally watching a petulant child at play. Kicking and screaming, I want what I want. I want what I want. You don't get to have it your way. I'm going to have it my way. Seriously. And we sit here and we hear it from these people all the time. We hear it from these people all the time. Oh, Maguire, he could still be a good player. Oh, he's got his captaincy taken away. It's like, fuck me, most instances when a player gets captaincy revoked, they leave the club anyway. So this could be a first for quite a big case. As a manager, Eric can't say I'm not picking or playing Maguire if you're not happy with that pay off my contract and I will leave. I really believe there's an element the manager wants him. I mean, maybe there is, but to be honest, I just really don't understand with this Maguire stuff. I really, really don't. We need our manager to stand up to the board and demand what he wants. I think we do. I think Ten Hag needs to really be a ball ache to this board and just keep really pushing their buttons. Because I think at the end of the day, the actions will speak louder than words, and I think the actions of our manager, really protesting against this board. You're not giving me what I want. You're not giving me what I need. Is it's going to come full circle. Look, if the manager's not going to have the backbone to make the tough decisions and really provoke this board into action, right? It's going to come full circle, and he's going to end up doing what happened with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. We sat here for seasons at a time saying that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer picking Fred and McTominay, Maguire and Lindelof is going to get him sacked. It's going to get him sacked. We were saying it seasons before it happened. Seasons. And we are sat here saying, well, look, if the same thing starts to happen again, and he starts keeping players in positions without really punching a hole through that glass ceiling, he's going to end up getting into a point where a lack of decisions or a lack of incentive, or I say lack of incentive, a lack of urgency to make some big decisions is going to cost him his job. It's going to cost him his job. I'll tell you what, if we go into Spurs game and we get battered there, this season needed to be the stop to battering performances. It needed to be the stop this season. Tottenham Hotspur, if they walk all over us and we get battered, the manager will probably have to go, to put it simply. If the manager is not standing up to the board, then is he the right manager? Well, I know factually we've not got the right board, so it's a bit hard to say because, I mean, you look at Mourinho, the guy is literally, with what he says to the media, with how he is as a character, it took him until he got sacked to stand up to the board. Louis van Gaal took him until he got sacked to stand up to the board. Ollie just never had a backbone anyway, so he would just take whatever it was he was given. And David Moyes was never around long enough to make anything of his tenure at Man United. But Erik Ten Hag, I mean, I'll tell you who did stand up to the board was Ralf Rangnick. Look what happened to him. Stood up to the board in one press conference and got sacked. So he couldn't be a part of the board that would have benefited Erik Ten Hag. Seriously, Ralf Rangnick being on the board would have benefited Erik Ten Hag tenfold. It would have. It absolutely would have. But Ralf Rangnick just said, look, if I'm going to be honest, this team, this club needs open heart surgery, not cosmetics, open heart surgery. Sell 10 players, buy 10 players. And then we can talk. That was just to cover first base. That was just to say, well, okay, once we do that, then we can sit down and talk about the direction this club is going to go in. I mean, the fact that he said that and he got sacked, he basically, I think he probably left the room for the press conference and straight away probably knew, yeah, that's my job done. That's my job finished. I'm not gonna be staying here for much longer. The players, didn't respect Ralf Rangnick because it's probably the case where the player, Ralf Rangnick spoke truth to those players and said, you guys are absolutely pathetic, and he would have been right. I'll tell you what, if you want to say, well, Ralf Rangnick got sold down the river, the players threw the towel in. What he should have done is brought the players in line, single file, bring them out to the front of Old Trafford and let the fans talk to them. Let the fans talk to them. Because I'll tell you what, there's a lot of players that will really, really weasel out. They won't be comfortable. The board could not handle the negativity of the manager walking. He should have them where he wants them. Do you know what? And that's the thing, is Lee Gunner says this about managers. If the manager doesn't get what he wants, why doesn't he walk? Why doesn't he just walk? And some people will say, well, look, it doesn't make sense. You're throwing away your career when you do that. You're jeopardizing your record, you're jeopardizing the legitimacy to you as a manager. But it's just like, well, if we get faced with this sort of a situation and it just feels like this manager's not doing enough or imposing himself enough to the board or to the squad or anything, if we're sat here talking about that, we're in trouble as it is. Obviously, the ownership situation is looking like an absolute, bullshit travesty. Um, the board, we know, is not good enough. We know this, and by the way, to a lot of people who are giving the board, John Murtaugh, credit for doing things the way he should be doing his job, he's not. He's not doing his job because we just played a Premier League game, and the squad was lacking players that it needed. So yeah, John, you absolute shithead. Go do your job. Go and do your fucking job. End of story. Eric Ten Hag, have a backbone. Push these people that have the power to give you your job and let you do your work. If not, walk away. If it becomes a political problem, right, the fans will get on the board's case big time if you just walk away. Walk away from the job. Just do that. I think you need the Glazers to sort out their crap and actually announce a buyer. This flip-flopping with Ratcliffe and Sheikh Jassim is beyond a joke now. It's holding back the progress of the club. To be honest, it was used as an excuse before the window opened. It's the board tried to use an excuse to say, well, look, our summer transfer window is not going to be good because of this uncertainty. Well, look at the transfers that have happened thus far. Like, seriously, look at it from that perspective, right? The board used it as an excuse to start with to say, oh, we're going to have to sell to buy from the get-go. Oh, we've not got much money to use. Well, we've just spent 180 million thereabouts with before needing to sell anybody, and now we're doing sell to buys to purchase another 2-3 players. So the excuses you're going to try and throw out there, right? And John Murtaugh trying to write himself his own apology letters to say, oh, feel sorry for me, guilt trip the fan base into thinking, oh, but everyone treats me like I'm a joke at boardroom level. Because you are. Maybe it's because you are. So, I mean, the board, there could be a takeover process going on, but the board are so crap and incompetent, they can't make the bet. It's like if you have 150 million to spend in a summer transfer window, give that to a very competent board. They sell the players off in very quick succession, right? They work on multiple fronts at the same time. They sign players. We go on pre-season tour with about 3 to 4 players in, right? And 3 to 4 players out of the door, right? We've completed 8 transactions thereabout before we've even left for pre-season. We barely scraped 2 transactions. Anthony Elanga, I think, was about that same sort of time, right? About that same sort of time. But he wasn't an established first-team player. He wasn't. Let's be real, right? So, technically speaking, in the first-team picture, we completed 2 transactions going both ways. But apparently John Murtaugh was, he's making bread. He's doing it. This is the guy. This is really the guy. Tears in my eyes, I'm hearing. Seriously, listen, the ownership could be an absolute, joke, and that's what the fans are protesting against. Absolutely, the protest outside before the game kicked off. There's supposed to be another protest at the Nottingham Forest game where it's going to be flyers handed out to everybody that after the game finishes, we're going to sit in, all the fans in Old Trafford, sit in for 60 minutes. Sit in for an entire hour after the game. Don't leave. Just don't leave your seats. Keep those Glazer out chants going. Do whatever you need to do to make the message clear and make your voices heard. So if you are going to Old Trafford for Nottingham Forest, just make sure you do that. Stay in your seat for another 60 minutes. It's not just this first game and this pre-season. There were questionable decisions by the manager multiple times last season. I hope, but I can't believe in him. I believe what I see and I'm not seeing. Well, the eye test is going to prove everything we need to know, isn't it? It's going to prove everything we need to know. Obviously, the benefit of the doubt for the manager is he won a trophy with a squad that essentially was in absolute disarray by inheriting it, right? So, and it's also another thing as well, like the manager's comments from last night. I read some of it and I was just like, well, look, I'm going to have to address some of these comments. So actually, I'll probably do that as well. I'll do that in just a bit. I am going to get onto the manager's case in a bit and read out his comments and how he just completely contradicts what happened on the football pitch. It's just like sometimes I really wonder if people see the same game as to what the fans see. Easier said that done. Walking out of us to think Arteta has 8.3 million reasons why he doesn't walk. Well, it's like with Mikel Arteta, the guy spent last summer or this summer thinking he'd failed and he was considering quitting. That's just based on that. Like he was sat in that internal dilemma, right? That internal dilemma from Mikel Arteta considering walking away was just simply because he failed to win the league from a very advantageous position. Like he could have won the league that season. It was there to be had, but he was just like, but I mean, these fans are happy, but I'm not. I'm really, really not happy. So Mikel Arteta could have walked. He could have walked, and that was just because of a lack of success or of a failure of achieving success. He could have walked then. For us, it's more, club politics surrounding our manager, where it's like, look at Lopetegui. Obviously, something wasn't clicking, right? Something really, really wasn't clicking. He ended up leaving about a week before the season kicked off. It's like Eric Ten Hag, if he's faced with these major problems as well, what's to say that Eric Ten Hag doesn't leave when it's just like people pose the question to Jurgen Klopp. Oh, FSG, they're not supporting Jurgen Klopp. And everyone asks the question, why doesn't he walk? It's like, when do we start to include Eric Ten Hag in that sort of a conversation? Before we say, well, look, this manager is taking us as far as he can go. This sort of stuff happens a lot. Never thought I would say this, but I'm starting to understand Lee Gunner more and more as these months go on. I think it's just paying close attention to what the clubs are doing and what sort of a message it is Lee Gunner's trying to get across. And it's like most of what he says I completely agree with, because it's factual. It's like the brutal truth, right, that people don't like to hear, that when someone talks about it, people are literally plugging their ears because it's like, oh, it's just so negative. It's just like, well, if it's apocalyptic weather outside and someone sits there looking out the window saying, oh, wow, the weather is really apocalyptic out there, and everyone plugs their ears and goes, no, that's negative. It's like, again, it probably lies with how he says some things that people just don't like. It switches them off compared to rather than it being what he actually says. And that same thing goes for quite a few other people. I'll tell you what, I'll have to look into what Mark Goldbridge has been saying about this, um, about the game last night. He does speak a lot of facts, to be honest. Yeah. Would Ten Hag's best Ajax team have got anywhere near top four in the Prem? I think no. Well, Big T, the Ajax team that Ten Hag had would actually, be playing Ten Hag football. Like, it was actually playing, some decent football, but because you see him playing up against other teams, he is playing teams around Europe in the Champions League off the park. But unfortunately, he comes to United and he's not even given us close to what Ten Hag football really was. We've only been reduced to just slight glimpses, but glimpses isn't enough. We can say, okay, well, we give you the benefit of the doubt to your first season, but next season is where you're going to have to start making your bread. We're yet to see it. Pre-season was damning. The first game of the season, we've looked like we've completely regressed. Even with all the best intentions, I don't think we have the players to play how the manager wants. Rashford, for example, is counter-attacking player, nothing else. He's useless against defences. To be honest, I think a lot of people say, well, Rashford, fantastic, world-class player. Like, fuck off, he's not. He really, really isn't. He's thereabouts as far as technical ability. He's above average at best. Listen, people who are, pro Marcus Rashford, sue me. Really, sue me. I don't care. His technical ability is above average. The guy is just literally a freaking MBE politician for this country. Henceforth, he gets a lot of free passes and everything. Right, my friend, got to go back to work. Been good listening to you and 82 subs. Woohoo, great stuff. Catch up with you later tonight. Thank you very much, Early Doors. Big ups to you. Thank you very much for tuning in. And yes, we will see you tonight. I am going to include, now that you've just reminded me, I am going to include the link to Arsenal, the history and more in a pinned comment on the playbacks of this stream, as that's where I'm going to be turning up tonight at 9 p.m. 9 p.m. local time. I think it's pretty sure it's GMT or BST time zones. I don't really know, but local time zone, it's going to be 9 p.m. That'll be live on Jez's channel. So do be sure to drop in and check that out. Take care, Megan. He's in here supporting. Lovely stuff. Big ups. If Eric walked now, nobody could blame him, and it probably does his career more good than staying and continuing like this. And this is the thing. If Eric loses his job at any point, look at the way he'd lose it, right? I think it's going to be telling. The way he loses it, it's going to tell more about Eric than it's going to tell about this job. It is. Because if every manager keeps going in and keeps getting sacked the same way, from just bad performances and just looking completely clueless with everything. It's like, I would have so much respect for Eric if he just were to walk away and say, well, this just is pathetic. It's not good enough. It's like if after the Tottenham game, if we get completely ransacked, right? If Ten Hag turns around, it's just like, well, this is, we've not gone anywhere from last season. We've not gone anywhere. From the start of last season, we've gone backwards. And I know that I can't recover this, so I'm going to leave. I'm going to walk away. And that's probably where we're at right now. It's just like Eric Ten Hag, if he gets faced, I don't think the guy's been sacked yet in his career. So if he were to get sacked from Man United, that would be his first sacking, I believe. I mean, keep your heads, keep some respect on your name by walking away if this board is not living up to your expectations and up to your demands, because the fans will understand it. The fans won't sit here and say, oh, Ten Hag is a complete disgrace. 7 Hag. Yeah. They probably won't be saying that. I mean, you'll get some right specials that, go baffling or waffling on about it. But I'd have a lot of respect for Ten Hag if he were to just look at a situation that's beyond unacceptable and go, but I can't fix this. You know, as much as I would like to have been able to fix it, I cannot. This is like, here is the reasons why this problem has become so prevalent and so big. And, the question is who does come in his place that inherits this and gets a good tune out of it? Who does? Who really, really does? With Lee, for me, it's not his message, how he delivers it. He gets people's backs up too quick, and it sends most into defense. It's hard to get people to listen to you that way. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people. I don't know if you watch it, Big T. But the best place to really watch Lee Gunner is the Football Terrace on Tuesdays. I mean, today, I think Lee Gunner's going to be on that show today. He should be on Talking Facts or Straight Facts, I think the show is called. So, yeah, Terry Flewers versus Lee Gunner, and some of the conversations they have, you sort of get a taste as to, how it is Lee communicates and how he gets his arguments across. So I think it's a good way to sort of get to understand the characters and sort of different ways of trying to communicate messages, because you've got Lee that's very blunt and he doesn't want the journey side of things. He just wants the results and wants them now. Whereas on the other side of things, you'll have Terry Flewers, who tries to think about things more methodically, like he tries to break things down into smaller bits and pieces and say, well, this happens because of this, and this happens because of that, and then that happens because of that. And it's like, in various extents, there's some things where you can say, well, yeah, Lee Gunner's thought process is bang on. But there's also, you look at Terry's side and you think, what a lot of what he says is also true and factual as well, and makes a lot of sense. It's like you get the best of both worlds basically with that show. It's a fantastic show to watch. So I do recommend. It does get quite heated on there as well. So it is actually quite a blast to watch. So big ups to both Terry and Lee Gunner on that one. They do make it a blockbuster show. I think a lot of people love to tune into it. Even those that hate it. It's funny because a lot of people don't like that show because of Lee Gunner, but they keep tuning in to tell Terry, I don't like this guy being on your show. I watch all your other shows, but just don't watch it then. You already are doing so well. You're watching all the other shows, and then you let yourself down by then actually clicking on the one video that you already know you don't want to click on, and then go and start watching it, and then you get upset about it. So it's just one of those things. But yeah, essentially. But yeah, Man United. I mean, God, I do need to have a look this afternoon at what it is that everybody else is saying about what we've seen. I do need to have a look into it because it's just one of those things where I don't know if my message is or the way that I feel about this club, that I'm in my own ballpark with this one, or if everyone else is feeling a certain other way, to try and understand why it is that they would feel the way they do, if they do feel a different way, or if I'm not just going a bit loony here, and or going a bit loopy, and everyone's got a different perspective on the situation. Maybe there's people say, oh, it's just the first game of the season, but I'm just like, we probably said that about Brighton last season. We probably said that about Brighton. That's the first game of the season. We walked into Brentford, we were 4-0 down, and like, what was it, by half time? I was on the way home from work on that day. It was not good. It was not good. I was on the way home from work, and literally I was just sat on the train hearing these goals just going in for fun. I was just like, And there was people on my train, right, when I was taking the journey home. There was people on my train, like, they weren't United fans or Brentford fans. I think some of them weren't even football fans. They were laughing. They were hearing what was going on, and they were laughing. They're just like, I can't believe him. Wait, that club is finished, man. It's finished. I'm like, oh my God, the absolute embarrassment. Thank goodness they don't know that I'm a United supporter. But that was painful. And we could be in the same boat next Saturday. I could be coming home from work, hearing Tottenham scoring goal after goal after goal for fun, right? And it being an absolute blowout result. Trust me, if it gets Saturday afternoon, I am probably going to end up getting my stream, my YouTube channel cancelled for the shit that I'm going to say if that turns up to be a complete blowout result. I am setting everybody on fire. Everybody that serves Man United, I'm setting them on fire and I'm burning the motherfuckers. I'm burning all of them. So, yeah, basically. To keep it short and sweet, everyone's getting clapped if we get absolutely embarrassed at Tottenham. I don't know how everybody else is feeling about this game coming up. You know, what are we feeling confident? Are we feeling confident? I mean, Tottenham Hotspur, right? Open defense and all of that. A lot of people will tell you, look, Ange Postecoglou, the guy is very open in his defense, right? If you cannot score goals past that Tottenham defense, there's a big problem with you, right? Big problem with you. BT, if we get smashed by Spurs, I could be done. If we dispatch Spurs comfortably, I'll have to reevaluate. Look, if we beat Spurs, I would say I think it's not even if we beat Spurs anymore. It's just if we have a good, respectable performance. That's all I'm looking for. Because last night was so bad. It's like I'm having to just wait and expect the absolute basics. Right, right, scraping bottom of the barrel basics. That's what I'm having to wait for here. And do you turn that game around? Like, do you turn that performance from last night around to a performance good enough to beat Tottenham away when they're going to be full on attack? Basuma, um, Papi Sarr, I think his name is. I mean, that midfield, barring like the only person really in that midfield that commands any of sort of respect is Basuma, Yves Basuma. Now, I really like Basuma. I think he's a fantastic player. But that one player with a couple of shitters next to him is probably going to absolutely run us off the park. He's going to absolutely run us off the park. But we could be in serious trouble. I mean, Son's not doing any good. He probably will get space to operate and actually, turn back the years. Richarlison will probably, if he gets the space that Cunha got, we're in trouble. Kulusevski is not really, living up to any expectations thus far. Maybe he gets a break against Man United. I think there's so many positions. I mean, Maddison. Oh my God, Maddison. I've forgotten about Maddison. That guy's going to have a field day if he's got the space that Wolves had last night. Maddison's going to rip us limb from limb. He's absolutely going to rip us limb from limb. The guy's going to have an output like Lionel Messi, to put it simply. Like, seriously, it's going to be real dire straits. I'm not confident for that game at all. But I'm not happy or confident as things stand. We're a joke. Based off of last night, we are. 100% a win versus Spurs is not enough. We need to destroy them for me to start to be happy. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is I'm at the point where it's not like, yeah, I'm really not. I'm looking at this. I don't really care about results at the moment. I just care about, proving to the fan base that this club is progressing, that this club is actually on the pitch. The team is playing better football. But if we're playing worse football and we are regressing, then the fan base is going to catch on to that very, very quickly. And we're just going to we're going to switch. We're going to switch on a dime, and it's going to go to Ten Hag outstyling to Trend. It is. It's gonna get worse. It's gonna get a lot worse. But that's literally all we need to do. We just need to have good performance. That's it. Just give me a good performance, right? And we'll be happy. Just give me a good performance and we'll be happy. Just show us that you actually care and that you actually give a toss, right? Just show us that you care, and that's all we want. That's all we want. Just show us that you care, that you actually give a toss. I always said that win, lose or draw, I want us to go to war for 90 minutes, and that's the foundations of what Man United was built on in its successful periods. Look, you put the effort in, right, and you actually, you play your heart out on a football pitch for 90 minutes. The results follow because you put the work in. The results will follow. Because even if you don't have a game where it's like a lot of what you're doing is coming off, even if it's not, the fact is that even when you play badly, if you're actually giving a toss and you're giving a damn, you can still win those games. You still can get results across the line. We've managed to get a VAR officiating team suspended to get a win. Right? We literally had to have an apology letter issued to Wolverhampton Wanderers, an officiating team suspended, and a lucky moment, right, in order to get a 1-0 win at home across the line. That is pathetic. And this is the thing, by the way, our defence was so open, right, that Wolverhampton Wanderers achieved the second most amount of shots against our goal in the Premier League's history for a home game. The first most amount of shots we conceded, right, was Chelsea in 2005. We won that game 1-0, but Chelsea were coming off the back of a 40-game unbeaten run. Right? Wolverhampton Wanderers, they were touted for relegation, and they rocked up to Old Trafford, and they fired off 23 shots against us. Chelsea fired off 25. That's unbelievable. That is unbelievable. A relegation fodder, right? No disrespect to Wolves, a relegation fodder achieved the second most amount of shots against us at Old Trafford in Premier League history. We're finished. We are fucked. We've got Tottenham Hotspur, an attacking, a confident Tottenham Hotspur away from home coming up next. How you feeling, guys? How you feeling? It's going to be a long week for us United fans for sure. It is. It's going to be a very, very, very long week. And I'm hoping that these weekdays between now and Saturday take forever. Take forever. And I'll happily fall asleep Friday night and wake up Sunday morning and not have to bear witness to the potential carnage that will ensue. Yeah, we're in trouble. We're in very, very big trouble. I'm just going to have a scroll through to see where Ten Hag's comments were from post-match, right? I have to have a look to see. Because some of the comments that he made were no good. Okay, so here are some of Ten Hag's comments, right? Right, get some of this. Right, okay. So we lost the ball too easily. We gave the ball away too easily, but we got a clean sheet and took 3 points. That okay? Yeah, you gave the ball away too easily. You were lucky it was Wolverhampton Wanderers because every other team would have punished you for it. It was difficult, he said. We had to give everything to win this game. You didn't give everything. You didn't give everything, Eric. Your team got an officiating team suspended for an absolute pathetic decision, right? There were negatives and positives. To start with, the negatives, we could have been calmer with the ball. We didn't play our best football because of bad choices and technical mistakes. They were more aggressive than us. We had to find a way to win the game, and that's what we did. You made a moment, Eric. You made a moment to win the game. And you are fortunate to do so. It's not tactical acumen where you change things up on a football pitch that brought you the result. It was a moment. You see the spirit of this team, the desire to win. We are happy with the 3 points. You are happy if, now listen, Eric, if you are happy with the 3 points from last night, you are also saying you are happy with the 0 points we're getting on Saturday. You are happy with the 0 points you are getting on Saturday. That's all I'm getting from this. The spirit of this team. That team looked like they couldn't give a damn. They looked like they couldn't give a damn. They really, seriously, what game was Ten Hag watching? The spirit and desire to win. We looked like we wanted to give Wolves every opportunity to beat us. But for God's sakes, and I've just seen a reply to that part of the Ten Hag's comments from from Mahmood. Your tactics were negative. It took Pochettino one game to implement his style of play, where in Ten Hag's second season and still don't know what our style of play is. Exactly. Pochettino has taken Chelsea from an abysmal season last season, right? Abysmal season last season with a squad that is, no good on paper. I mean, now they're signing Caicedo and Lavia, but Mauricio Pochettino, the guy that we turned down, right? And at that time, I said rightfully so. At that point, Pochettino's taken that finished Chelsea team, stuck it up against a Liverpool team, and they were actually the better team of the two. They were the better team of the two. They couldn't hold a candle to anybody last season. Chelsea could not hold a candle to anybody last season. They near damn set Liverpool on fire in their first game. I mean, Christ almighty, it's the second season and we still don't actually know what style of football it is that we're playing. Ten Hag on Onana, the clean sheet is the result of a collective performance, but you also need a performance from the goalkeeper. He did a very good job and fantastic start. I mean, cool. Onana made some good saves, right? Some very good saves. And we take the negatives out of the performance. And Onana has a very good performance. What the fuck are you doing saying it's a collective performance? What are you doing? Who are you trying to kid here? The substitutes brought energy, and that's what is expected of them. It's not 11 players, but a group. So substitutes brought energy. Why did the first team not have energy then? Why did the starting 11 not have energy? Where was their energy then? If you had to sit there and wait for substitutes to come on just to give you energy on a football pitch, my God, we're in trouble. We are in such big trouble. Ten Hag on the upcoming Tottenham game. We can't wait. A great game. Now we have to recover. Now you need to go dig yourself about 22 graves in North London because you're going to get buried. VAR was used and it was decided to not give a penalty. Not to give a penalty. Of course, we're happy. I don't have to react to Gary O'Neill's interpretation, acts on the referee and the VAR. Yeah, you don't want to take accountability for the fact that we got very lucky and that the officiating team got suspended. You know, that tells you a lot, Eric. It tells you a lot. It tells you everything. We proved last season and in pre-season that we can be better with the ball. You also see that pre-season is not the season. Opponents are more aggressive. But were we better with the ball in pre-season? Were we better? Were we really, really better? I don't think we were. I think it was just more of the same. The same problems that we had in pre-season was that we weren't scoring goals. We've gone into this season and it's the same story. It really is the same story. We're back to square one. We are actually back to square one. We can be better in decision making. I also see a lot of positive things. 5, 6, 7 good ball recoveries, balls recovered high on the pitch. We have to make more use of it. On the other side, as a block case, we fought for our lives and we survived. You survived because of a bullshit decision, let's be fair. But my God, the thing is, right, is surviving is like you're holding on, but you can see everyone's giving their all to ensure that we get the result across the line, right? That's usually what we associate or interpret surviving in a game is. It's like Nottingham Forest. Let's say they didn't concede 2 goals in the first half against Arsenal. They were just holding on whilst getting shot after shot after shot. But you could see they were fighting for everything. You'd say Nottingham Forest are surviving against Arsenal. We weren't surviving. We weren't surviving. We were getting away with bloody murder. We were getting away with it. That's not. I don't even think that's opinion anymore. That's fact. That's factual. We were getting away with bloody murder. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. To continue to take points, you have to play better than that. So, I mean, you've just contradicted your previous comments then. You know, you're talking about the negatives and all of that stuff. You talk about the desire, energy, the desire to win. But you've just said that to continue to take points, we have to play better than that. What? But so why are you happy with the 3 points then? Please stop contradicting yourself. Because I'll tell you what, it's like a manager that starts to contradict his own comments is usually a manager that's on the way out. Usually that's what you associate a manager with, contradictive comments. They're usually on the way out the door. They usually don't have many ideas left. Their time is limited, right? That's usually what you associate with it. Tony Ibarra, good to see you, mate. Wolves were robbed. VAR is a joke. I can agree with that. Wolves were robbed, with all things considered, and our team got a VAR officiating team suspended. Funny thing is that same officiating team, the VAR guy, has previously been suspended for also another poor VAR decision. There are also a lot of positives, like the defensive organisation, the clean sheet, the mentality of believing in victory. For fuck's sakes, Eric, there was no defensive organisation. Stop making shit up. Stop making shit up. There was no defensive organisation. Our clean sheet came as a result of a VAR decision that got the referee or the officiating team suspended. It shouldn't have happened. To put it simply, it shouldn't have fucking happened. You have to be aggressive and fight in duels. At this level, we lost duels today. We lost duels today, but you've just said, but you were winning the ball high up the pitch. 5, 6, 7 times. Oh my God. Ten Hag, what have you been smoking? What have you been smoking? My fucking God. At this level, we lost duels today, which allows the opponent to counter-attack. But luckily, we defended well, or we had Andre Onana making very good saves. But we didn't defend. What are you seriously not seeing? We didn't defend. The first half, Cunha, so many times, was running uncontested for literally our entire half of the pitch, from the halfway line, uncontested. Richarlison's going to get the same next weekend, or this coming weekend. He's going to get the same. He's going to get the same. He's going to get the same space, isn't he? He is. Let's be real. He's going to get the same space. He's going to get a free run on goal. Free run on goal, free shots. Son, he's probably going to get a brace. Kulusevski's probably going to he's going to chime him in with a goal himself, with the cut on the inside, the fire it, far posts to the left-hand side. He's probably going to do that. Like, I can see this shit happening. And the delusion that's reeking off of this manager with his post-match comments. The delusion. Absolute delusion that we defended well. Our goalkeeper had to make save after save after save. The first half, Wolves shooting was the reason that we didn't concede. Wolves shooting, not the goalkeeper. Wolves shooting. We could have scored in these 5-6 transitions. No, we couldn't. But I think the attacking line was not very well organised today. Well done. Last week we scored incredible goals, but not today. But it will come. Will it, though? Will you get the same opportunities to score like you had in pre-season? Because I don't remember us getting close to scoring goals. I don't remember us getting close. Before, the only time we actually got close to scoring a goal was the goal we scored from Varane's header, right? Wan-Bissaka, Bruno Fernandes puts in a very sumptuous ball into Wan-Bissaka. Receives it fantastically, good ball control, and lovely chip pass into the path of Varane, right? Moment of brilliance, right? Created by players that can do brilliant things. They can. But where are you getting this impression that we could have scored from 5 to 6 transitions? Man saying that we could have scored 5 or 6 goals today. From where? From where? What transitions are you talking about? I'll probably have to go back and find where I could watch the game live and try and pick out where it was that where we could have actually scored goals from. And seriously, like, this manager looks like he's completely lost the plot. He really, really has. He does sound like he's lost the plot. And I was reading these comments last night, and I saw one comment. I was just like, no, I'm not going to read any more. Otherwise, I'm not going to get to sleep. So I slept on it. And now we've just gone through the comments in full. I'm going to wrap the show up here before I get absolutely livid and start flipping shit. So I'm going to wrap things up there, guys. Apologies for the ranting, but I'm not going to censor how I feel about what's going on at my club at the moment, and the reality of the situation that is. I'm not going to. I'm just not. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm going to be absolutely upfront and honest about it. And the truth is that we were stupendously lucky, and our luck is definitely going to run out when we come to Tottenham Hotspur. It's going to run out. Our luck is going to run out. So we've got so much that we need to improve on between now and Saturday. I just don't have faith that we're going to do so. I don't have faith that we're going to do so. But I'm going to wrap things up there, people. Thank you very much for everyone that's tuned in. Big ups to you, Tony Ibarra, Big T, Early Doors Football TV as well. Make sure you do go and drop Early Doors a subscription. He's going to be going live, I believe, at 5:15 p.m. I believe it is. 5:15 today. He's going to be talking about something with I think it's a grassroots football team that he takes part in. So if you'd like to go check that out, then do be sure to go check out Early Doors Football TV. You should be able to just type the full name in on the search bar on YouTube, and it should come up with the channel result. So do be sure to go check him out and drop him a subscription as well. But yeah, big ups to everybody else that has tuned in. I don't think we've had any subscribers today, but nonetheless, I will be dropping in the comment section the link to Arsenal, the History and More, where I should be on tonight. That show will begin at 9 p.m. Local time, and it's going to be enjoyable. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be quite a few people, I believe, that will be on that show, and yeah, it's going to be a rodeo for sure. It's going to be a rodeo. I'm probably going to get absolute strays left, right, and centre on that show. I'm going to get absolutely battered, but yeah, we're here for it. We're here for it. We'll have to buckle up and enjoy this ride. So big ups to everybody. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you later on tonight. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.